Hello again, everyone. It is Gordon Majak here, back with another episode from the spiritual journey out here on planet Earth on a cool and rainy Wednesday afternoon in the Seattle area. It's kind of nice, actually, after a series of sunny days to get kind of a cool rainy day. So I'm actually enjoying that. Today, I want to do the first in a series of videos that will feature another one of my very favorite spiritual texts and another book that I think is absolutely essential for any spiritual library. And that is this one right here. This is the Gospel of Thomas. And this particular translation, by Marvin Meyer. This is the first edition from 1992. Also includes a great interpretation by Harold Bloom. And we're going to spend some time with this book going forward here over the next several weeks. I will also be doing other videos, of course, but from time to time we will return to the Gospel of Thomas as we work our way through this. I want to read today. I'm just going to do a short video. I'm not going to actually get into the text. I just want to sort of introduce this book, and I think it will be self-evident as I read a bit of the introduction here and some of the jacket from the Gospel of Thomas. It should be self-evident why I think this is an important book and why it is important to me in particular. So let me just read a little bit about the Gospel of Thomas for those of you who may not be aware of it. Of course, the Gospel of Thomas was first discovered in 1945 in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, as part of a larger find of what came to be known later years as the Nag Hammadi Library. And this is from the jacket. I want to read just a little bit, and then I'll get into the introduction to the book. It says, widely regarded by scholars as containing many of the original sayings of Jesus, the Gospel of Thomas was discovered in 1945 among the Gnostic texts at Nag Hammadi in Upper Egypt. Reportedly dictated by Jesus to his brother, Judas Thomas, the twin, who was the founder of the churches of the East, the Gospel of Thomas reveals a Jesus who merges with the wisdom of the sophists, with Diogenes, Plato, and Socrates. Now, just as an introduction here, I want to read a little bit to you from the introduction to the book, which will sort of give you an idea of where I will be going in the subsequent videos that feature the Gospel of Thomas. So let me just read a little bit here from the introduction. It says, as a gospel of wisdom, the Gospel of Thomas proclaims a distinctive message. In contrast to the way in which he is portrayed in other Gospels, particularly New Testament Gospels, Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas performs no physical miracles, reveals no fulfillment of prophecy, announces no apocalyptic kingdom about to disrupt the world order, and dies for no one's sins. Instead, Thomas's Jesus dispenses insight from the bubbling spring of wisdom, which is in saying 13, discounts the value of prophecy and its fulfillment in saying 52, critiques end-of-the-world apocalyptic announcements in sayings 51 and 113, and offers a way of salvation through an encounter with the sayings of the living Jesus. The readers of the Gospel of Thomas are invited to join the quest for meaning in life by interpreting the oftentimes cryptic and enigmatic hidden sayings of Jesus. Saying 2 describes the vicissitudes of such a quest for insight. Jesus said, "Let one who seeks not stop seeking until one finds. When one finds, one will be troubled. When one is troubled, one will marvel and will rule over all. And having ruled, one will rest." That is to say, the quest for meaning is to be undertaken with commitment, and while the way taken may be upsetting, People will attain insight and rest if only they persevere. For it is in the quest and through the quest that people find themselves and God. Then, according to the Gospel of Thomas, they discover that God's kingdom is not only outside them, but also inside them, and that they are, quote, children of the living Father, saying 3, and that they are essentially one with the Savior. Saying 108 makes this point by using mystical language. Jesus said, "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become that person, and the hidden things will be revealed to that person." The hidden wisdom of Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas takes several forms. Some of Jesus' sayings in Thomas disclose an everyday sort of wisdom about life in the world that is familiar from other wisdom documents in the Jewish scriptures and elsewhere. Saying 21, for instance, recommends vigilance against the attacks of thieves. Saying 25 enjoins love for one's companion. Saying 26 advises that honest self-examination should precede the scrutiny and criticism of another, and saying 31 recognizes that familiarity breeds contempt. Other sayings in Thomas suggest a more provocative and radical kind of wisdom that subverts the conventions of polite society. Stephen Patterson aptly calls this counterculture wisdom. Thus, saying 55 has Jesus declare that true discipleship entails rejection of father, mother, brothers, and sisters. Saying 42, in which Jesus says, "Be passers-by," seems to oppose a settled, comfortable lifestyle in favor of an unattached existence, perhaps like that of a wandering, homeless teacher. In saying 14, Jesus scoffs at the polite amenities of religious piety, such as fasting and praying and giving to charity. The conclusion to the parable in saying 64 excludes business people from God's kingdom. Saying 78 ridicules the luxurious life of the powerful. In saying 95, Jesus counsels lenders to give money away, while in saying 110, he encourages people of wealth and stature to, quote, renounce the world. The parable in saying 98 compares God's kingdom to the work of an assassin. A few other sayings in the Gospel of Thomas show a more esoteric interest in transcending the world and identifying with the divine. Sometimes scholars have considered such sayings to be representative of a Gnostic point of view, and they have classified the Gospel of Thomas in its present form as a Gnostic document. Ancient Gnostics were religious people who sought true knowledge, in Greek gnosis, in a wide variety of traditions. They regarded attainment of knowledge as the key to a salvation that emphasized the mystical awakening of the self, the God within. Many Gnostics were dualists in that they contrasted the divine world of light above with the fallen created world of darkness below. Among these more mystical and Gnosticized sayings in Thomas is saying 50, in which Jesus explains that when his followers dialogue with them, probably the powers of the world, they are to assert that their origin is in the divine light, that they are children of the light, and that the evidence of the indwelling of the divine is, quote, motion and rest. Several features of this saying, including the answers to the powers, the origin in the light, motion and rest, are typical of other Gnostic passages in other documents, for example, the secret book of John. And yet, ancient Gnosticism remains an elusive phenomenon, and scholars continue to debate how Gnosticism should be defined and how Gnostic groups should be identified. As a result, it is difficult to call the Gospel of Thomas a Gnostic gospel without considerable qualification, and we do well to exercise caution in classifying the texts. So that's just a little bit of an introduction from the Gospel of Thomas there. This is just, I think, such a beautiful and important book. Definitely an essential part of your spiritual library. If it's not already, I would highly recommend that everybody get a copy of this. And it occurred to me yesterday as I was sort of thinking about doing this video, because I knew I wanted to talk about the Gospel of Thomas. Here we have the Gospel of Thomas, the hidden sayings of Jesus. A few weeks ago, I think I did a video on the Dhammapada, which is the sayings of the Buddha. And another one of my favorite spiritual texts, which we will get to here in the weeks ahead, is the Hua Hu Ching, which is the sayings of Lao Tzu, who, of course, was the author of the Tao Te Ching. So it's just interesting, and I'd never really thought about it before, but there's 3 books that are so important to me and I think so important to the world, and they are all, what do they have in common among many other things? They're these sayings, the sayings of these great spiritual teachers. And I just in particular love the sayings without all the dogma and without all the layers and all of the interpretations and meanings and everything else that came along after the fact. I just love going straight to the source and hearing the sayings. So that's what we will do when we get to more of the Gospel of Thomas in subsequent videos. But today I just wanted to sort of give you guys a little bit of an introduction on one of the upcoming topics here in the channel. And I am certainly looking forward to getting into this. I will not represent that I understand every single passage from this book, because I certainly don't. And I think that's one of the real beauties of it is, like so many of the other great spiritual texts, you can go back to it over and over again, and each time you will find something a little bit different. And certainly I think the deeper you go into it, and the higher and greater that your awareness and your spiritual consciousness grows, the books seem to reveal more of themselves in that context. So really looking forward to getting into some of the Gospel of Thomas in future videos. We will do that shortly. And in the meantime, I'm going to go do a little bit of work here today on this cool rainy day, but I will see you guys again very soon. Take care out there. Be well. I hope you're all doing your meditations every day. I've certainly been sticking to mine lately. I've been on a good roll. Very important to meditate. Calm your mind in the stillness and the silence. Super important part of the spiritual journey. So I hope you all are sticking with that. And hey, if you don't already have the Gospel of Thomas, jump on Amazon. See if you can find this particular translation, which I think I've seen a number of them, and this is definitely the one that I like the best. Translation by Marvin Meyer with an interpretation by Harold Bloom. This is the first edition there from 1992. See, maybe you can find a used one. If it's not still in print, I'm sure it must still be in print. This was a very popular version back there in the early 90s when I picked it up, the Gospel of Thomas. Take care out there. I will see you again soon. Peace and love to you all. Thank you so much for watching the videos. I appreciate you checking out the channel. Take care.